Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood. Today, we'll be learning all about pencils. Now, as a teacher, I know thinking critically is an important habit for lifelong learners. So before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell truth from fiction. Consider this. An economist by the name of Milton Friedman famously claimed that, quote, "nobody knows how to make a pencil," end quote. Could it really be the case that no single person possesses all the knowledge to create such a seemingly simple object? What do you think? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is graphite. Graphite is a form of carbon, the same element that diamonds are made of. But unlike diamonds, graphite is soft and slippery, which makes it perfect for writing and drawing. It's also an excellent conductor of electricity. It's used in a variety of things, from pencils to batteries and lubricants. The word graphite comes from the Greek word graphene, which means to write or to draw. The term was coined in 1789 by the German mineralogist Abraham Gottlieb Werner. It may surprise you to learn that although people talk about lead in a pencil, the core is actually made of graphite with a bit of clay mixed in to make it stronger. This common misconception started centuries ago. Around 1564, a massive storm uprooted a tree in Borrowdale, England, revealing a huge deposit of pure, dark, crystalline graphite. People initially thought it was a type of lead, and they called it plumbago, a Latin word for lead ore. It took centuries for scientists to correctly identify it as a form of carbon distinct from the metal lead. And just a little bonus fun fact for this episode, the old Latin name for lead is also where we get the term plumbing, because pipes used to be made out of lead. And for those studying the periodic table, that's why the atomic symbol for lead is Pb. It all dates back to its Latin roots. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about pencils. Number 1. The numbers and letters on pencils, like HB or 2B, indicate the hardness of the lead and the darkness of the mark it makes. The, quote, lead core of a pencil, a mixture of graphite and clay, comes in a range of hardness levels, affecting how dark or light your lines will be. In European grading systems, H stands for hardness and B stands for blackness. A number higher before the H, like 2H or 4H, means there's going to be more clay in the mix for a harder core that's going to stay sharp longer but make lighter marks. A higher number before the B, like 2B or 4B, means it's going to be softer with more graphite in the mix, making darker marks. HB is a common middle ground, and F stands for fine point. Now, you might be wondering why the standard HB pencil is often classified as a number 2 pencil. This is because the American grading system uses the numbers 1 to 4 to indicate hardness. The higher the number, the harder the core is going to be. A number 2 pencil would be basically the HB grade, setting it in the middle of the range. Next up, the average pencil can draw a line about 35 miles long, or write approximately 45,000 words. And pencils can hold up well for years, even centuries. There's a lot of writing power packed into a single pencil. The finely ground graphite and clay mix allows for an incredibly long and consistent line, far exceeding what you might imagine from such a small object. And yet, despite that ability to draw for miles or write tens of thousands of words with a single pencil, some estimates say an average student might go through around 48 pencils a year. Multiply that by the 13 years it takes students to go from kindergarten to graduating high school, and students could be using upwards of 624 pencils before they get to college. Still, while we go through a lot of pencils, it seems like we don't really have to. Pencils are surprisingly durable. The oldest known pencil still in existence dates back to the 17th century. It's believed to have belonged to the famous German philosopher Immanuel Kant. While pencils might seem like a simple tool, their ability to endure for centuries means that one pencil can serve for a vast amount of writing and drawing, reducing the need for frequent replacements and minimizing wastes if we can just take care of them. Number 3. Over 14 billion pencils are produced worldwide each year, enough to circle the Earth about 62 times. We often think of the world as being increasingly paperless and digital, but demand for the classic old reliable pencil remains strong. From classrooms to art studios, construction sites to everyday note-taking, pencils remain an essential tool. To appreciate the sheer scale of production, let's look at the global supply chains involved in pencil manufacturing. First, we've got the wood. The primary material for most pencil casings is cedar wood, specifically incense cedar, from sustainably managed forests in California and Oregon. Its straight grain, softness, and ease of sharpening make it ideal for protecting the graphite core. And if you're wondering how the graphite gets into the center of the wood is typically cut into slats that are grooved to then hold the graphite rods. Now, for the core of the pencil, the graphite is mined globally. There are some major deposits found in countries like China, India, Brazil, and North Korea, but the loose graphite is mixed with clay that acts as a binder to sort of hold it together into the rod shape. The erasers that are usually found on the end of a pencil are a synthetic rubber, although natural rubber can also be used. These materials are processed with other ingredients like pumice for the abrasive qualities and sulfur for vulcanization to create the familiar pliable material that lifts graphite marks from the paper. I'll get into that a little bit more later. The ferrule is the small metal band that holds the eraser onto the pencil. It's typically made from aluminum or brass and crimped onto the end of the wood casing. And finally, you've got a layer of paint or lacquer. This is just a top coat, putting the quite literal finishing touches on the pencil. And all of these materials are sourced from all over the world, brought together to manufacture the simple pencil. Number 4. The eraser on the end of the pencil was patented in 1858 by Hymen Lipman. Before Lipman's invention, people used crumbs of bread to erase pencil marks. His idea of attaching a piece of rubber to the end of the pencil made corrections much more convenient and revolutionized writing and drawing practices. It's a device that's simple, but absolutely amazing. Here's how it works. When you write with a pencil, tiny particles of graphite cling to the fibers of the paper. Erasers are typically made from rubber or vinyl, and they work by a combination of friction and adhesion. As you rub the eraser over the pencil mark, the friction generates a slight heat, and the eraser material becomes sticky. This stickiness allows the eraser to grab onto the graphite particles, effectively lifting them off the paper. As you continue to rub, small bits of the eraser itself begin to crumble and roll away, taking the captured graphite particles with them. This continuous shedding of the eraser surface exposes fresh, clean material, allowing for a clean erasure without smudging. The key is that the eraser's material has a stronger attraction to the graphite than the graphite has to the paper, allowing it to pick up the marks without damaging the paper underneath. And our fifth and final fun fact for today, yellow became the dominant color for pencils in the late 19th century to signify quality, particularly linked to superior Chinese graphite. At the time, the very best graphite available for making pencils came from newly discovered mines in Siberia near the Chinese border. In Chinese culture, yellow held a profound significance. It was historically associated with royalty, imperial power, and respect, with emperors being the only ones allowed to wear yellow. This powerful cultural association made yellow the perfect color to signal luxury and elegance. The trend was spearheaded by the Austrian Czech company Hardtmuth Pencil, who in 1889 introduced their luxury pencil. This pencil, made from prized Siberian graphite, was painted a vibrant yellow, partly to allude to its geographical origin near China, and partly to evoke the Chinese association of yellow with prestige. The marketing strategy was incredibly successful, and competing manufacturers quickly followed suit, painting their own pencils yellow to capitalize on the perceived quality, even if their graphite didn't come from the same source. Eventually, yellow was just cemented as the standard for what was considered to be a high-quality pencil, and that tradition continues to this day. Now for some news you can use. Here's a tip for keeping your pencils in tip-top shape. Store them properly and choose them wisely. Don't just toss them in a drawer where they could roll around and get their tips broken. Instead, keep them in a pencil case or a cup with the points facing up. This simple habit can significantly extend the life of your pencils and prevent frustrating tip breakages. If you've ever had the experience of sharpening a pencil only to have the graphite tip fall out repeatedly, that often happens because drumming with pencils or banging them around can cause the core to break even though the wood casing remains intact. You can avoid these problems by being gentle with your pencils and storing them properly, but also buying quality pencils helps. Some manufacturers, like Dixon Ticonderoga, glue the core of the pencil into place along the entire length, which helps it to hold up better over time and resist breakage. In contrast, some bargain pencil manufacturers will reduce cost by skipping that gluing, using lower quality wood, and perhaps most frustratingly, lower precision manufacturing can result in an off-center core, leading to a lot of frustration and waste when sharpening. Remember, low cost doesn't always mean great value. With pencils, the trusted brands often only cost slightly more than the generics, but the quality, consistency, and overall value can vary significantly. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked if Milton Friedman was correct when he said that nobody knows how to make a pencil. Well, there's some nuance here, but it's largely true. He was using this to illustrate a profound economic concept. While you can search on Etsy and other platforms to find artisanal pencils made by highly skilled individuals who hand build them with specialized tools and techniques, the vast majority of pencils produced globally are mass-produced, and Friedman was largely talking about manufacturing and our global supply chain. The point was that the creation of a pencil involves a web of interconnected activities and specialized knowledge, all coordinated by the market. Some people harvest the graphite, others harvest the wood for the casing, another person extracts the rubber for the eraser, yet another designs the ferrule. Each of these steps involves countless individuals, from engineers and loggers to factory workers and truck drivers, all contributing their specialized skills. So while no single person has all the pieces of the puzzle, the collective knowledge and coordination makes these small wonders possible. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about pencils with me today, and be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.